Hi everyone, I am going to present a topic on structure and properties of skeletal muscles. Okay, the skeletal muscles are the most common type of muscles in our human body. Okay, these muscles are made up of muscle fibers which are long, cylindrical in shape and multinucleated cells. Okay, the structure of skeletal muscles is made up of several parts that works in unison to move the body. Okay, these parts mainly include the muscle belly, fascia, tendons and bones. Okay, the muscle belly is a fleshy portion of the muscle. Okay, that contains the muscle fiber. Okay, then fascia is a connective tissue that helps to hold the muscle fibers together. Tendons are another type of connective tissue that connects the muscles to bones. Okay, and it will allow the transmission of force from muscle to the bone. Okay, this is a diagrammatic representation of a structure of skeletal muscle. Okay, the skeletal muscle also contains several proteins, mainly actin, myosin and troponin. Okay, this actin and myosin are the primary protein that is mainly responsible for the muscle contraction. Okay, then ability of a skeletal muscles to adapt to changing conditions is determined by the type of physical activity performed. Okay, the structure and property of a skeletal muscle play the crucial role in the human body. Okay, this help us to move, maintain our pose, then perform physical activity. Okay, then next thing is changes that occurs during muscle contraction. Okay, the structure of muscle fiber. The muscles are made up of long, slender fibers called myofibers. Okay, each myofibers is composed of a many smaller unit called myofibrils. Okay, which in turn it is made up of repeating units called sarcomeres. Okay, this sarcomere contains proteins, actin and myosin. Okay, this actin and myosin form a sliding filament theory which describe how the muscles are contracting. Okay, during muscle contraction, the brain sends a signal to the muscle cells to release calcium ions, okay, which then bind to the protein within the muscle cells called troponin and tropomyosin. Okay, this binding causes some conformational change in these protein. Okay, which exposes binding sites on the actin filaments. Okay, the myosin head, which were previously in low energy state, attach to these binding sites and forms a cross bridges between actin and myosin. Okay, then this cross bridges will oscillate and causing the actin filaments to slide past the myosin filaments and shorten the sarcomere. Okay, as this happens, ATP will be hydrolyzed and it is releasing the energy. Okay, this energy will power the movement of a myosin heads. Okay, once a new ATP molecule comes to the myosin head, it releases the actin filament and this one will allow the muscle to relax and return to its original length. Okay, this is a 2D and 3D representation of muscle contraction and relaxation. Okay, the next thing is changes that happen during the muscle contraction. Okay, this muscle contraction is a very complex process, okay, that involves the series of molecular interactions between the proteins, ions and other molecules within the muscle cells. Okay, the structure and the changes that occurs during this muscle contraction will help the scientists and researchers to develop better treatments conditions such as muscle weakness and diseases. Okay, the next topic is neuromuscular junction. Okay, neuromuscular junction is a specialized synapse between the motor neuron and the muscle fiber. Okay, this one is responsible for initiating the movement of skeletal muscles by transmitting nerve impulses from the motor neuron to the muscle fiber. Okay, this process of transmitting nerve impulses begins when an action potential travels down the action of the motor neuron. As the action potential approaches the neuromuscular junction, it will trigger the release of neurotransmitter. Okay, neurotransmitter is called as acetylcholine into synaptic cleft. Okay, here you can see the pictorial representation of a neuromuscular junction. Okay, here axon terminal is there, then motor neuron axon is there, motor end plate, then terminals is turning, synaptic vesicles that is having acetylcholine and sarcolemma. Okay, here in this neuromuscular junction, the process of transmitting the nerve impulse begins when the action potential travels down the axon of the motor neuron. If action potential continues to approach the neuromuscular junction, it will trigger the release of a chemical called acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft. Okay, the release of acetylcholine binds to the acetylcholine receptors on the muscle fiber, which causes the opening of ion channels in the muscle membrane. Okay, this will allow the influx of positively charged ions such as sodium, which triggers a depolarization of a muscle fiber. Okay, this depolarization then spread down the T tubules and leading to the release of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum in the muscle fiber. Okay, this calcium release causes the contraction of a muscle fiber, okay, which is the main goal of a neuromuscular junction. Okay, then another feature of neuromuscular junction is synaptic transmission. Okay, this is the process by which nerve impulse is transformed into a chemical signal in the form of neurotransmitters. Okay, this neurotransmitter is mainly acetylcholine. Okay, it will the release of neurotransmitters is tightly regulated. If there is any disruption in this process, it will lead to the neuromuscular disorders such as myasthenia gravis. Okay, understanding the mechanisms of this neuromuscular transmission is very essential for developing treatments for neuromuscular diseases and improving the quality of life for those who live with these disorders. Okay,